Alright, so I wanted to show you just a very few versions of making these guys 3D. So first we're going to start with something pretty straightforward. Just a straight loft from profile to profile. Um, when you do this, you kind of want to pick things that are fairly similar. So I'm going to pick these two guys and just copy them over to the side because they have close to the same number of edges. I'm going to scale this one up a little bit and move it over the top of this one and then rotate it around the other way. I would just recommend getting something that's kind of similar. I've got this two ends on here that maybe are going to be close. It looks like about the same amount of edges. And then I'll move this guy up in the Z so it's a little different. Maybe a little bigger, right? We'll see how it works. And then do a test loft. So I'll do a loft and I'm going to pick this guy and this guy, and I should get that little line, but I'm not. I'm getting the straight sections and all this kind of stuff, and I'm like, what's going on? And so just make sure I'm going to pick this, and it says this is 8 open curves that are grouped, so I'm just going to ungroup them and join them, right? Because you really want that to be a closed curve. And then this one is also an open curve even though it doesn't look open, so I'm just going to close it, right? And now I can pick these two guys and loft them. Okay, and it's pulling right from there to there, and if I hit enter, and you could adjust some of these and play with these if you want to, like loose versus tight. It's not going to make a whole lot of difference depending on what you're working on, but what you want to make sure of is that when you spin around it, it seems to be fairly well surfaced. We do have a little bit of an extra surface in here where it's making up for an extra face, but I don't have any overlapping. And so once I get to that point, I'll be kind of happy and I'll undo it, and then I'll offset. So I'm going to offset this guy to the outside 0.25 inches. Now if I pick this, you're going to start to see that it's adding these little tiny segments that do not exist on this one, and that's going to be a problem because it sees that as another lofting segment. So to avoid that, what I've been doing, and there may be a better way to do this, is I've been offsetting, and instead of putting the sharp corner on, I just put none. And then when I offset, right, it does leave those little bits out, but then I can fillet them and make sure that I'm getting the same amount of segments on the outside on the offset that I am right on that. And then you need to join those, right? So I'm just going to join those guys up. All right, so we've got one. Again, getting a closed curve, and then sometimes it works fine. So for example, it depends on how things the curves are working. So if I set this one to sharp and offset it, this one's actually fine, right? It's not putting in those additional little pieces. So just be aware of what's going on. And then we'll just go to loft. I'll loft the outside one first, right? And just pull that to there, pull that to there, right? Click OK, and then let's loft the inside one, and we'll do that one to there and that one to there, right? Click OK. So we should be getting the same loft on the inside that we are on the outside without any overlaps. And then you can cap them. So if I cap the inside one and cap the outside one, I can then do a Boolean difference, subtracting from the large one the small, right? Then I don't have it. Now I have that sort of situation there. The other thing that you can do, so if I hide this, once you get one working, right, you can then maybe go and try something else. So if I hold down let's make a copy of these guys over here. then you can start to kind of play with it. Maybe you even start to take these guys, you could scale them up a little bit, do whatever you want. Maybe even move them, where they're out here. Maybe even scale them up a little bit more. And then see how the loft works from there. And you can pick the outside one and the outside one. And again, right, you're starting to get something slightly different, or maybe even playing with some rotation in that. And, however you want to play with it, just go ahead and see how it works. But what you're trying to avoid is getting these overlapping or self-intersecting pieces. It's like we're getting close over here, right? But it still looks like it's working pretty well. So yeah, so go ahead and give it a shot and see how that guy works out.